Here's a little bird sculpture, which I also got from reference. So I'm kind of just jamming a bunch of different things together to create this design. The front teeth. The front teeth actually has some perspective issues, which I'll probably fix in the 2D version. Some of these details you don't catch until you're done. So continue painting the details. So I spent quite a bit of time. So I think about more than 50% of the time of this entire painting takes place on this cat creature and his 2 bodyguards. Everything else is pretty much easier, much easier to do. Right. So here I'm taking a mental break, if that makes sense. See, I spent about I think in real time about half an hour painting the guy's face, right? And then you're kind of tired. Your brain's like, I need a rest. I need to do something else. So I go off and paint some background stuff, and then I go, okay, now let's go back and do the hard stuff again, which are these dogs. Because they're not defined. You see, there's no line drawing here, so I have to extract these creatures from paint only. There's no line drawing to help me with, so it's quite stressful in terms of painting. And I also want this kind of animated fluid movement, this kind of S curve that you see. His body has an S, so they look very slithering, very bad guy-like, kind of coming out from this character. So this way, if this is on a film or a game, the animators or the production people who sees this painting can start get a sense of what's happening here and how they animate it, how they introduce this scene. So try to think of your production paintings as just a pipeline, one of the processes necessary to continue down the road. Right? This painting is not a piece of artwork here. This is just another step. So you got to think, how is this painting going to be used when someone else looks at it? So I'm doing my best to try to tell the story, get the design across, get the lighting across, get all those information there, so it could be used down the road. So the first creature is starting to get out. You see here slithering along, coming out from the back, kind of behind this cat. So you can kind of imagine what this place looks like prior to them coming to life, right? So this big cat creature is probably sitting, looking at the sky, and these 2 dogs are sitting proper like how dogs sit. And as soon as the player enters the scene, they just start animating like this, and all the rocks are breaking, which you'll see later. I'm repeating some of the shapes on these guys' forearm. You see the forearm shares the same design as the cat. So this way, as a design element, they go together as a set. And they also have a little bit of a red on their head, similar to their boss there. So this guy's kind of coming out from the shadows as well. Design their head. So after this stage, I'll probably start working on the background a little bit, just like the other one, taking a mental break. Right, because you got to give yourself a break. For me, I like to paint just easy stuff. So other people, you could take a break from the painting, like physically take a break, right? Just leave it for a while, go drink some coffee, and come back and work on it. Because you do need to rest your brain. This kind of stuff is quite exhausting. So even though we're drawing, it's quite tiring. It's like physical work. If you think about it, every single line of this painting is done by a person, right? It's done by hand. So this painting requires thousands and thousands of little paint marks of your hand. That is quite labor intensive. A lot of brain power put into this, and same with physical, right? So for me, the physical part never gets you tired. It's always the mental part. You're spending so much time trying to figure these things out. Now, by the end of one of these paintings, you're kind of tired, and you don't want to do another one for at least a few hours, or a day in that case. So the hardest part here is almost done. At this point, the stress level goes way down because the creature looks pretty okay. His 2 side characters looks pretty okay. So this painting as a whole is starting to work. So you don't have to worry about, oh man, is this gonna work or not? Am I 2 hours into this and it sucks? Do I have to start over? But you don't have to worry about that anymore. At this point, I knew this could probably be okay. Now, especially doing something like this where I'm recording live. If you imagine you mess up, then all that effort goes down the drain. You have to start a whole new painting or do some creative editing or something like that, which I don't do on these videos. What you see is 100% raw here. So it's quite stressful. That means as I paint this, it's not like the cooking shows where you put a bunch of ingredients and then they go, okay, and here's what it looks like when it's done, right? Because they already pre-made one and they can make sure the pre-made one's perfect. So even if they screw up the initial stages, it doesn't matter. Something like this, you have to kind of as you paint, also make sure you don't mess up. So it adds to the stress level. It's not as easy as just painting this without any kind of recording. But at this point, again, I tell myself, okay, I think this is going to be okay of a painting. It's not going to be messed up looking, I guess. So here I'm taking a mental break. Even though I'm recording, I don't walk away from these. I try to do a one shot, a single recording. So to relax my brain, I work on the background, getting more of those human scale things into the painting. So here are some rubble from the temple. So we're kind of like in this valley, if you could kind of see the environment around it, where the river and the water's kind of pulling together, and in here some kind of maybe a sacrificial statue of these guys, right? And so we find ourselves in this situation. The cameraman is hidden behind these bushes. Always plan your camera. Don't put it randomly. So in this case, the camera is kind of observing the scene from our point of view, meaning the player's point of view. We are just as in danger as the main character, which you'll see later. So this is not taken from the point of view of the monster itself. So that's why it's kind of good to put some plants and stuff like that in front of the camera to say like we're hiding. Continue doing background. So the things we want to sell in a production painting, one of them most important is the design. We want to sell the story. We want to sell the lighting, the mood, and also what's happening, like where am I, right? So the background. So those elements you have to make sure you're doing as you paint. Continue background painting. Let's see anything else technical. So again, this is painting on a laptop using because a lot of you guys give us a lot of private questions regarding software and hardware and stuff. So this is painting on a laptop. It's done on Intuos 3 Wacom tablet, a 9x12. Here in my office. So not much RAM, running Windows. This is actually Windows XP in Photoshop CS1. So this is actually an older version of a much older version of Photoshop. It's about 3 versions behind, but it doesn't matter. To me, it's pretty much the same. But I do like the new Photoshop CS5, the one I used at home for last week's demo. It does have some pretty cool tools in there, such as the color picker, much better than this version. But still, it works well and it's fast. So you could kind of see the older interface as well in this version of Photoshop. Now going back after you took the mental break, balance out the atmosphere, go back and touch up the actual design itself, because that's the money shot, right? The 2 dogs and the cat. That's what you're trying to sell to the clients. And here I am trying to put some backgrounds to try to again trick your brain to think that this is a 3D space, even though it's not. So I'm gonna put some mountains way back there, those kind of Andes mountains type of feel. I really like that South American type of feel. They have this kind of high altitude way up there, you get this blue haze. They have a very unique lighting up in the Andes. So I'm trying to capture that in this painting. So that's why I zoom in here, you can kind of see very cold. The trees are very, the cold temperature type of trees. It's not jungle trees, especially in high altitude. So they always have some snow up there, so put some snow caps. Really cold, you can almost feel the breeze chilling to your bone type of feel. And that's what I'm trying to get at the top left corner there. So this way, when you see it, you feel really far away. You feel this world is very big, right? And that's a big giant illusion. Even if you play video games, the backgrounds are just a spherical wrap most of the time. It's just a painting, but you feel like the world is very big. But if you actually think about games, if you think about like Modern Warfare 2 or these kind of Bad Company 2 and stuff, the actual level is really, really small. If you think about it, it's like a linear tunnel. However, you feel like the world is huge. It's because the developers are using a lot of tricks to try to fool your brain. Right? They're doing backgrounds, they're doing scale adjustments, they're doing like plans at scale or buildings at scale. So you think the world is really, really big, even though you're not even in it. You're not going to those places. So we're doing the same thing in a painting like this. We're trying to create an illusion that the world is huge. And back there, I'm trying to put some of those, those kind of Mayan temple-looking things up there, way in the background. They're built above this valley. So we're kind of like in a Grand Canyon-ish, some kind of valley that got eaten away by a river over time, or maybe it's man-made, who knows. So we're kind of down here. Good place to set a story, yeah? So surrounded by 2 walls, which also makes it quite dangerous. So this creature, if you find this guy here, there's nowhere to run. I constantly go to the black and white to adjust my value. Zoom out, same thing as looking at it with your eyes blurred. The key here is to make sure that the cat face, whatever this thing is always the first read. So I'm adjusting the values to pop the lion out. Well, I guess in this case they don't have lions in South America. It'll be a panther. Or puma, I guess, right? Those kind of animals.